Our association was formed 4 years ago, and a little bit behind yours. I think yours was formed 5 or 6 years ago. And we'll see what we've done and how we've done it. Let's reflect a little bit of what's going on in our countries. Same problems, exactly the same, like in the rest of the world. However, in Latin America, we have double the deaths of fire than in the countries where there is a modern regulation. Half of the biggest fires in the world have happened here. And they will continue happening if we don't do changes, important changes. Just to give you an idea, our 3 largest cities have around 15,000 fires per year. We lose 3,000 people per year, 25,000 wounded people. That's just the loss of life and all the social impact that those cause. Tremendous psychological, and people that are lost all they have in a fire. All the little they have in our countries, or the little or the more they have. And that's completely preventable if we do work in creating a culture of prevention. Economically, the impact is tremendous. Just it's very difficult to measure. However, we are not very good on keeping statistics in our countries. But like the Mexican Association of Insurance Companies calculates that just the people that are insured, there are like $250 million lost per year, but only 6% of the population have an insurance on this. So if we extrapolate, we're thinking about $4 billion of direct losses, not counting the indirect losses. No? That's just what is lost, not considering the businesses that are lost. If you have a sprinkler system, in a few hours, your business is back on track. If you don't have it, maybe a year, or your business will be gone, or your house will be lost, and that's gone all your savings forever. Plus all the environmental problems that we have. So there's no regulations or mandatory requirements for fire protection in Mexico. And that's our big challenge. And that's a challenge for many of our countries. Unfortunately, we don't have in Mexico what you have here. We're very lucky that we don't have aquí Santa Maria. We had other smaller fires, and that created the need for changing regulations, and that's what has happened in isolated parts in Mexico. We don't have the power of the fire marshals that you have here that have created that push. Unfortunately, the fire marshals in Mexico are mainly voluntary, and they are not even recognized by the Constitution. We're working to help them. A little bit of an overview of what is AMRACI. So to tell you, we were formed 4 years ago by 23 companies in Mexico. We had our El Padrino, Marcelo Lima, which created your association here, helped us create our association there with David Morales from Factory Mutual, which have been very fundamental in the success and the growth of our association. And we've increased from 23 to 115 members in those 4 years. We have a national coverage. We cover 22 states in the country, about 2/3 of the country, and about 80% of the economical developed area in the country. Around 80% of the whole industry is represented in our association. We're the voice of the industry and the recognized leaders. That is only possible through an association. I worked for 20 years in Tyco, Simplex Renel. We tried to do it alone. We invested a lot of time and money. We were not successful. We were not humble enough to think that you need your team. You need the mass of people that are looking for the same purpose to create changes that are not possible by one person alone. We have a very good representation in the government. We're invited to anything that has to do with government issues of fire. We have 8 very working committees that work all the time on different issues and different things that we offer, that we are trying to work. We have task forces, and we have bi-weekly meetings with all of them so that progress is being done. We plan a lot, and we act much more so that we can accomplish things quickly. We have a very big training program and a certification program that Victoria talked to you a little bit, which is very important because it's government-based. It's recognized by the government and obviously by the whole industry. And we have very good national and international relationships. What we're doing for the regulation is based basically in 3 main columns, the columns of a table. Without one of them, this will not work. Those 3 are basically, our main thing is regulation. If we can get the regulation changed in Mexico, that we have a law that requires sprinklers, that will solve a lot of things. But also, like anything else, you have a book, you have a regulation, you have something that is enforced by the government. But that's only a cookbook. You need to teach the people how to make the food and put the right ingredients in the food. So we're working very hard in the certification of our technicians so that what we do is very important. If a system doesn't work, it's not easy to know. It's not easy to understand. An air conditioning, you feel it. An elevator comes up and down, and you know that it's not working. A fire protection system will work only once, but that day it should work. So it's very, very important to have the right certification for the people involved and the right certification of ingredients, of materials that have to be used. We don't want Chinese products that don't have any standards and no approvals. We're very strict on that, and we're working very close with the government on that issue. And the third column, which is very, very important, is the prevention. The prevention area is vital because, unfortunately, fires are isolated. Very many fires, very many people die, but not in a single event like an earthquake or a hurricane. Therefore, the media don't give them much attention as these other events. And there's more people that die and more economical problems that arise from that. But nobody knows. So we need to work very hard on that part of prevention so that we really will have the impact that it should be done, that the people understand what's going on. So the whole issue, the whole key for us is regulation. That's what will give us the engine for the changes to happen. And this engine is based in basically laws and norms, and we're working very strong in these 3 areas: the municipal laws, state laws, and federal laws. Municipal laws, wow. We have around 3,000 municipalities in Mexico. That's a lot of work for 115 companies. So it's difficult, even though we're working on that. State laws, we have 32 states. It's going to be very hard. But federal laws, that's where we're concentrating. With one federal law, which is the NOM, we can make the big change. And we're working this year, 2016 is a year where we're working on that so that we can have it changed, or else we'll have to wait 4 more years until 2020 to have it done. How are we doing it? We build a lot of relationships, a lot of coalitions, especially with our best friends, which are the fire marshals. All of the associations of fire marshals in Mexico are working very closely together with us, and we're training them because they have to be the ones that will have to inspect them later on all the systems. We're creating something new that when things happen, it will be an explosion. So it's very important to have the people trained, not only the technicians and the installers and the companies that will be doing the work, the design, but also the people that will be doing the inspections. That's as important as the other part, or else the food won't be correct, no? The menu will be not working correctly. We're working very hard with foundations that have a big recognition of name, like Michimao, which has been working very hard in Mexico for burn children, and the Mexican Association of Insurance Companies, colleges of engineers, architects, mechanical engineers, obviously the government. We're working very closely with the people that know. We have only 4 years. NFPA has 130. NFPA has over 100. I don't know how many have. And obviously, we're trying to learn from them, not discover the wheel. So it's very important, their help and the help that we're getting from FM Global, et cetera. And also to have all these forums where we can have this knowledge, shared knowledge, where we can learn everybody from each other. So we're trying to close the loop and to learn as much as possible from each other so that things happen quicker. What we have achieved is important. This year, we tried it for 30 years in Tyco. This year, with the hard work of the association, we got the Mexican norm for sprinklers, which is basically the NFPA 13, and based on NFPA 13 and FM Global standards. It has been published, and that's one important success that we have. As I told you, we're working on the official norm for Mexico that will be basically 101, NFPA 101, that will tell you where to install the sprinklers. We hope to pass it this year. A few months left, but we're working very, very hard towards that. What we have obtained so far, apart from the NFPA 13, we have basically obtained some wins where there's problems. There was a big fire in a casino, and well, in that location, we have a law that requires sprinklers. There was a big fire with kindergarten children, where there were a lot of children dead. Okay, there we have it. We made it past. And some other fires, like you had the one in Keys in Santa Maria, the same in Baja California, we had another big fire with Asilo de Ancianos, older people dwelling, and there we have the changes. But basically, it's very isolated things based on what has happened. Right now, we have about 25% of the country that has some type of law. 75% of the country is not. But if we can obtain the norm, the official Mexican norm this year, it will be what will cover the whole country. That's our challenge, and that will be our goal for this year. We will be very, very lucky if we can do that. Then we work very hard with the certification and education program, because that's basic. What we do is very important. We have done every year, since we started, around 17,000 of training, and we have trained around 900 professionals of fire protection in different codes and standards. And we work very closely with also the fire marshals to train them. And we're using IFSA. Victoria has given a lot of courses. NFSA, FM Global helps us at least with 2 or 3 courses per year. And the FPE, the Professional Engineers of the US. So basically, we're getting all the experts in the world to train us with a world standard. You see some of the educational programs that we offer. And we have this, which is our recognized CETRASI certificate, which we have giving it to all the members, installers in Mexico. They've already done 1, 2, and even 3 times. Only half have passed. So it's a very high standard test, and they're still working. And it's very important for them to have it. As you see, it's a big event once they have it. We do it every year. And why is it so big? Well, the key is this. The Mexican Insurance Companies Association will not allow any company that doesn't have a certified engineer, CETRASI, to work after some period. So obviously, everybody wants to be certified, no? That's the main issue, no? So we are creating some locks so that things happen correctly. Then we have the area of prevention, the visibility, which is very important. 1985, 31 years ago, we have a tremendous earthquake in Mexico. That created a change in the law. Now we have a stricter law on construction. We don't want that to happen in fires. We're trying to avoid it and learning from others, so that what has happened here in Brazil and in many other parts in the world, like Las Vegas, which lost from one year to the other 1 million tourists, didn't go because of the fire of the MGM. That created a $1.5 billion loss from one year to the other. So the impact, the indirect impact of fires is tremendous. And it's very important to have that coverage, because the coverage is not good on fires. So we do exactly the same, side by side. We have done it for 3 years. And it's a very successful way to show what what happens with and without the sprinklers. One thing that you can do a little bit to improve, put a woman and a baby, and you'll see what happens. One is dead, one is live. Live is the sprinklers. And it's very impacting for people to understand and to see what really happens when there's no sprinklers. And what we use is the Mexican regulation, how it is. No fire marshal can get there in the time that a fire works so hard, no? So that's the side by sides. We do it especially to have people to understand what is the effect of a fire. And obviously, we work a lot with media. We have a company that helps us. We have a lot of interviews, radio, websites, a lot of noise, press, blah, blah, so that we have a lot of conscientization. We have done 2 years in a row our Fire Prevention Week, and with a big number of people getting involved in this, over 1 million people on this last September. And it's very important to teach the young people, because those are the ones that will tell the parents and will make them use at least a smoke detector and an extinguisher in their house, and to educate them in the basic things on how to prevent a fire. We just done the very similar event, the first we've ever done in Mexico, the Fire Forum, and this was this last September. It was very successful. We have around 1,300 people attending it, 200 exhibitors, conferences. We have 50 panelists or 50 expositors, and panels and different conferences, and it was very successful, obviously all very similar to what you're doing right here. So that's the way. Our conclusion is that In order to create regulation, certification, and preparation possibilities, we need to, and to promote this, we need to break paradigms. How do we do it? With hard numbers, no? Showing what really happens. Examples of big fires, no? Our tendency is to remember what we hear in the news. It's very difficult if we don't show hard numbers, people don't understand what's going on. And also, another thing is break the paradigms of the cost. Sprinklers are not expensive. They will increase approximately 5% the cost of a building. But it tends for everybody to exaggerate the cost and what's the cost of a life. It's very important to learn from the experiences of other countries, what has happened, what's going on in other countries. That's why it's so important to come to these forums and to do these forums, international forums, where everybody puts a little bit of their experience and we learn from others. We have to take action. Take action and take it now with passion, with leadership. Everything starts with the leader. It starts and ends with the leader. So the leadership is very important that we put in these associations. It's very important to have what we had to, if we want to achieve what few have succeeded, we have to do what few do. So we have to work hard. And it's much better to go together as a Latin American network because it's better than all together. Let's don't forget that what we're doing is good. We have a great cause, and it's a great responsibility. Sprinklers save lives, and we believe in this. Thank you very much.